Hello and welcome back to Mr. Allred's 5 Minutes On. Today I'm going to be talking about business ethics. And this is going to be geared towards a GCSE standard of understanding. It's not going to go into corporate social responsibility, which you would need for A-level business, or indeed if you're doing the AQA spec in A-level business, the models of corporate social responsibility that you will need to understand and be able to discuss. So I'm just going to focus on, like I say, a GCSE standard. This will cover all specifications as well. So let's get started then. So what is business ethics? Well, business ethics is about making decisions based on morality and not personal gain, which is quite hard because lots of times when we think about business is about making profit. That's the basic assumption we can make about business. Well, this breaks that paradigm, this breaks that mold and says actually it's a little bit more than that. It's about making decisions based on our own moralities. What does this actually mean? Well, actually, that is about looking at the negative impact my decision can have on my stakeholders and trying to ensure that impact either doesn't happen or I limit the impact that could have. Now, if we think about businesses often get criticised for being unethical. BP with the Deepwater Horizon sort of issues, the oil rig exploded back in 2010 and it's the biggest environmental disaster of the USA, really criticised for their handling of that, were fined by the USA government. British Aerospace have been fined because they were seen to be giving sort of essentially bribes out to win contracts. Barclays and then the libel scandal, and they rigged the rate for that. Tesco, and in terms of the price fixing that happens in milk and dairy products, they've been held to account. So there's lots of businesses that do and have had a history of acting unethically. So how can we then act ethically? How can a business become ethically minded? Well, one of the ways is fair trade. You're probably very aware of what fair trade is. It actually doesn't have as many sales as it used to have. In 2016, it saw its sales of fair trade branded products fall for the first time in 20 years. So fair trade perhaps doesn't have the impact that it is, but essentially it's a global linkage model, really. It's putting a business in touch with a farmer in another country and giving them a fair and equal pay for the produce that they are creating. Fair and equal pay is another way in order to be ethical. It's paying people a fair wage, a wage that they deserve, and paying an equal wage to people doing equal jobs. There's lots and lots of talk about women being underpaid in relation to men, and it's true. Women are often underpaid in relation to men in the same job, so paying that fair and equal wage is a way to be ethical. Recycling, having recyclable packaging, we're having this big drive towards reducing plastic, and the plastic impact on the environment is another way to become ethical. And often having a charitable aim, a charitable association. So we look at the business Toms. Every time you buy a pair of Toms, the shoes, a pair of shoes is donated to somebody in a different country who needs them and can't afford them. So these are just a few ways in which businesses try to act ethically. So what's the benefits of being an ethical business? Well, consumers are becoming more and more concerned about where their products come from. We are now concerned as consumers about the supply chain, about the impacts we're having on others, about plastics in our products. We recycle more than we've ever done before. We've become aware of the impact that businesses have, and so therefore we demand them to be more ethical in our approach. Well, if that's the point, then what actually happens is if I become more ethical, then there's an opportunity to sell more products. I fill a different niche in the model. The market. I appeal to a different type of person, and as a result, it acts as a massive marketing tool for me. I can talk about being ethical to my consumers in my advertising and tell people how I'm ethical, and this then can help to generate sales from that sort of segment of the market. It can also provide lots of motivation for workers in two ways, really. One, if I'm being paid a fair and equal pay, that can provide me motivation and encourage me to work harder. However, also, if I feel like I'm working for a company that's doing the right thing, that's having less impact on society, less impact on people, less pollution, less of those negative externalities that we've talked about in previous videos, well, actually, that might make me feel good about going to work and then provide motivation and feel like I'm doing something better than just working for an organisation. But there are negatives, and the biggest negative is cost. It is not cheap to become ethical. If you think about fair trade, you're literally paying more for the products that you could get for cheaper. You know, if you're looking at Tom's with their charity donation, they're sacrificing some of that profit to give some shoes to people in developing countries. That is going to cost them money. There is a trade-off between ethics and profit. There's an evaluation point to have here. It depends on factor, really. And do businesses mean it? Is a question you want to talk about. Do businesses actually mean to be ethical, or is it just something that's tagged on at the end? Coca-Cola, for example, will tell you often they're ethical, but if you look through their history, they've done lots and lots of things that are not very ethical. You know, farmers in India in their bottling plants where water has been taken from local sources and they're unable to feed their crops would argue that Coke are very unethical. So this has been Mr. Allred's 5 minutes on. Please like and share the video, and please do subscribe to my channel.